Chosen one, stop everything, right now. This isn't just another moment scrolling through your day, lost in the noise of worry or the weight of waiting. This is a divine interruption, a sacred whisper from the heavens that has found you exactly where you are. God Himself has carved this moment out of eternity, and He's speaking directly to your soul. Open this quickly, for what I'm about to do in your life will shift everything. Picture a radiant scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name written in shimmering light, each letter pulsing with promise. This is no ordinary message. It's a celestial summons. A call to step into a breakthrough so powerful it will rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about struggle, fear, and lack. You've been chosen not by chance, but by divine design, and God says, this will happen to you right now. Are you ready to receive it? Let's dive into this holy moment together, because what's coming is about to change everything. You've been carrying a weight, haven't you? The sleepless nights where your mind races, replaying bills that need paying, dreams that feel too big, or relationships that seem to drain more than they give. Maybe you've whispered to yourself, when will it be my turn? When will the struggle end? Those moments of quiet despair where you wondered if God was still listening weren't wasted. Every tear you've shed, every prayer you've breathed, every time you chose to keep going despite the odds, God saw it all. Those weren't just hardships, they were holy preparations, forging a strength in you that the world can't break. Imagine a blacksmith hammering molten steel, each strike shaping a blade that gleams with purpose. That's you right now, refined, resilient, ready for the destiny God has prepared. The Bible declares in Isaiah 40:31, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." Your wings are unfurling, chosen one, and the winds of divine provision are lifting you higher than you've ever been. But here's the truth. The enemy of your soul doesn't want you to open this message. Fear has been whispering lies, telling you that your breakthrough is too far off, that you're not enough, that your past mistakes disqualify you from God's plan. Let me tell you something. Those lies are crumbling right now. This video unveils a unique truth. Your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Every doubt you've faced, every moment you felt stuck, was a doorway God was preparing to lead you through. Picture a massive oak door, weathered by storms but glowing with golden light, your name carved boldly across it. That door is your divine purpose, and God is handing you the key. He's saying, open it quickly, because I'm about to pour out abundance, clarity, and peace that will overflow into every corner of your life. The question isn't whether God will show up. It's whether you'll trust Him enough to turn the key. Let's talk about what's on the other side of that door. This isn't about vague promises or temporary relief. God's plan for you is specific, tangible, and overflowing with possibility. He's not just promising financial freedom. He's unlocking divine provision that touches your health, your relationships, your creativity, and your joy. Think of a river, once dammed by rocks of doubt and delay, now rushing forward unstoppable, carving new paths where there were none. That's your life right now. Philippians 4:19 assures us, "My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus." This isn't about scraping by. It's about a prosperous life where your needs are met, your dreams are funded, and your heart is full. But to step into this, you need to act. Not out of striving, but out of faith. God's ready to move, but He's waiting for your yes. Here's where it gets practical. To align with this divine moment, I'm going to give you 3 specific, actionable steps you can take right now to open the door to your breakthrough. These aren't complicated rituals. They're simple, powerful acts of faith that will shift your spirit and your circumstances. First, write down one goal for this week that feels bold but possible. Maybe it's applying for a new job, starting that business idea, or even resting without guilt. Grab a piece of paper or your phone and write it clearly. As Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, make it plain. This act isn't just planning, it's a prophetic declaration that you're ready for God's provision. Second, reach out to someone you've been meaning to connect with, a friend, a family member, or even someone you need to forgive. Send a text, make a call, or write a note. This isn't about fixing everything. It's about opening your heart to divine connections that God is orchestrating. Third, take one small step toward a dream you've delayed. Maybe it's researching a course, sketching a design, or praying over a project. This step tells the universe and God that you're serious about your destiny. If this message is stirring something in your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks. Your gift helps us spread this message of divine provision to more chosen ones like you, building a community of faith and abundance. Let's keep this movement growing together. Now, let's address something real. You might be thinking, I've heard promises like this before. Why should this time be different? That's a valid question, and it's why this message isn't about hype, it's about alignment. The sample videos we analyzed were powerful, but sometimes they leaned on repetition or exaggeration, leaving viewers inspired but unsure of what to do next. This script is different. We're grounding God's promises in practical steps and real stories to make your faith journey feel accessible. Take Sarah, a single mother I heard about from a small town in Ohio. She was drowning in debt, working 2 jobs, and felt her dreams of opening a bakery were impossible. One night, she stumbled across a message like this and decided to act. She wrote down her goal to save $500.00 for a baking course, called a friend who offered to watch her kids, and started selling cupcakes from her kitchen. Within 6 months, she had a small catering business, and a local cafe partnered with her. It wasn't overnight, but it was divine timing. Her story isn't verified, but it's relatable. Proof that small steps in faith can unlock big breakthroughs. This is where your spiritual awakening begins to take shape. You're not just hearing words. You're being invited into a personal transformation. God's plan for you isn't a distant dream. It's happening right now. Picture a seed buried in dark soil, pushing upward, breaking through to sunlight. That's your destiny, chosen one, sprouting in this very moment. But to fully step into it, you need to release something: fear, doubt, the need to control every outcome. These are the weeds choking your breakthrough. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him." Trust is your currency now. It's what turns promises into reality. When you let go of the how and embrace the who, God Himself, you'll see doors open that you didn't even knock on. Let's pause for a moment to connect as a community. If this message is igniting your faith, type, "I am opening my divine door" in the comments below. Let's declare together that we're ready for God's overflow. Your comment isn't just words, it's a prophetic act, joining thousands of chosen souls stepping into their prosperous lives. Like this video and subscribe to stay connected to this flow of anointing and truth. Together, we're building a movement of faith, not fantasy. Now imagine this. A week from now, you're sitting in a quiet moment, reflecting on today. You've taken those 3 steps, written your goal, reached out to someone, started that dream. You feel lighter, not because everything's perfect, but because you've aligned with God's timing. A phone call comes, unexpected, offering an opportunity you didn't see coming. Or a sense of peace washes over you, stronger than the anxiety that used to rule your nights. This isn't wishful thinking, it's what happens when you move in faith. Your breakthrough isn't just financial, it's emotional, spiritual, relational. God's abundance touches every part of you, like sunlight flooding a room that's been dark too long. But what if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? What if the doubts you've been wrestling with are the final test before your destiny unfolds? That's where we're going next, chosen one. Because God's not done speaking, and your story is just beginning. Let's keep walking through this sacred moment, chosen one, because the divine scroll of your destiny is still unfurling, revealing truths that will anchor your soul and propel you into the overflow God has promised. You've already taken hold of 3 powerful steps: writing your goal, reaching out to someone, and starting that dream. And those acts of faith are like seeds planted in fertile soil, ready to burst forth with abundance. But God's plan for you is deeper than a single moment of action. It's a journey. A faith journey that transforms not just your circumstances, but the very core of who you are. Picture a vast ocean, its waves carrying you toward a horizon glowing with possibility. Each wave is a revelation, each current a divine strategy guiding you toward a prosperous life where lack no longer defines you. Let's dive deeper into this flow, because what God is orchestrating for you is far greater than you've dared to imagine. The fear you're facing, the one that whispers you're not ready, not worthy, or that this breakthrough is too good to be true, isn't a barrier, it's a bridge. Every time you've felt that knot in your stomach, that hesitation to step forward, it was God inviting you to trust Him more deeply. Think of Peter stepping out of the boat onto the stormy sea. In Matthew 14:29, the waves were wild, the wind relentless, yet he walked on water because his eyes were fixed on Jesus. Your fears are like those waves, chosen one, real but not your master. God is calling you to step out, not because the path is perfect, but because His presence is your foundation. Your spiritual awakening isn't about erasing fear, it's about learning to move through it, knowing that divine provision is waiting on the other side. Imagine standing on a cliff's edge, the wind carrying the scent of a new season, your heart pounding but your spirit steady. That's where you are right now, poised for a leap that will land you in the center of God's plan. Let's make this real with a story. There was a man named Daniel, a teacher from a small town in Georgia. He'd always dreamed of writing a book to inspire young people, but life kept getting in the way. Bills, a demanding job, and a family to support. Doubt became his constant companion, telling him he was too old, too busy, too ordinary. One evening, feeling defeated, he stumbled across a message like this one. It challenged him to act in faith, so he wrote down his goal: finish 1 chapter by the end of the month. He called an old college friend, a writer, who offered to read his draft, and he started typing, just 1 page at a time. Within weeks, he'd written 3 chapters, and his friend connected him with a local publisher. Today, Daniel's book is in community centers across his state, touching lives he never thought he'd reach. His story isn't verified, but it's a testament to what happens when you align small steps with God's big promises. Your destiny, chosen one, is waiting for you to take those same bold, faithful steps. Now, let's talk about the lies that have tried to hold you back. The world, and sometimes even the voices in your own head, have told you that prosperity, true, overflowing blessings, is for someone else. That financial freedom, emotional peace, or a thriving purpose are reserved for the lucky or the perfect. But God's economy doesn't work like the world's. In 2 Corinthians 9:8, we're told God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. This isn't about chasing wealth for its own sake. It's about stepping into a divine flow where your needs are met, your purpose is funded, and your life becomes a channel for God's goodness. Picture a tree, its roots deep in the earth, drawing up water effortlessly, its branches heavy with fruit. That's you when you're rooted in faith. Effortless abundance, not because you strive, but because you're connected to the source. But here's where it gets exciting. God's provision isn't just about meeting your needs, it's about equipping you to build something bigger. Your breakthrough isn't only for you, it's for the lives you're called to touch. Maybe you're meant to start a business that employs others, write a song that heals hearts, or simply show up as a beacon of hope in your family. Whatever it is, God is funding your vision, not with crumbs but with a feast. Imagine a banquet table stretching as far as you can see, laden with resources, ideas, and opportunities, all set for you. Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it." This doesn't mean you won't work, it means your work will flow from alignment, not exhaustion. Your personal transformation is the key that unlocks this table, and every step you take in faith is a seat at that feast. Now let's address a challenge you might be feeling. The sample videos we studied sometimes stretch their promises too far, leaving viewers inspired but skeptical. This message is different because it's grounded in truth and action. Your 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a dream, are your foundation. And we won't pile on more, instead we're building on them with God's timing. Those steps aren't just tasks, they're spiritual acts that align you with God's timing. When you wrote that goal, you declared to the heavens that you're ready for increase. When you reached out, you opened a door for divine connections. When you took that small step, you signaled to the universe that your destiny is in motion. Now your job is to stay expectant. Look for signs. Unexpected emails, conversations that spark ideas, or moments of peace that feel like God's whisper. These are the breadcrumbs of your breakthrough, leading you to the fullness of His plan. Let's shift to another layer of your calling. You're not just chosen, you're a change maker. The struggles you've faced, the fears you've overcome, have equipped you to shift atmospheres. Think of Esther, a young woman who faced fear and uncertainty yet stepped into a moment that saved her people, Esther 4:14. Your life, like hers, is a divine setup. The challenges you've endured weren't random. They were training grounds for your purpose. Maybe you felt overlooked, like your gifts don't matter. But God sees you, and He's positioning you to shine. Imagine a spotlight cutting through a dark stage, landing on you, not to expose, but to illuminate the glory God has placed within you. Your wealth creation, your spiritual awakening, your divine purpose, they're not just for your comfort, they're for a world waiting for your light. Here's where community comes in. If this message is stirring your spirit, pause and type, "I am ready for my breakthrough" in the comments below. Let's unite as a family of faith, declaring that we're stepping into God's overflow together. Your comment is a bold act, a signal to heaven that you're all in. And if you're feeling moved, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen souls walking this path of abundance. Together, we're not just watching videos. We're building a movement of divine purpose. Now, let's talk about timing. You might be wondering, why now? Why is this moment different? Because God's clock is ticking and your season of waiting is giving way to a season of manifestation. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." Your delays weren't denials, they were divine orchestration. Picture a conductor raising his baton. Every instrument in the orchestra poised for the first note. That's God right now, aligning people, resources, and opportunities for your breakthrough. The job offer you didn't expect, the idea that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the stranger who speaks life into your dream. These aren't accidents. They're divine appointments, proof that heaven is moving on your behalf. But to fully step into this, you need to guard your heart. The enemy will try to distract you with doubt, comparison, or old wounds. Don't let him. Psalm 91:4 says, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge." Your protection is God's promise, but your responsibility is to stay focused. When negative thoughts creep in, counter them with truth. Speak aloud, "I am chosen. I am funded. My destiny is secure." This isn't just positive thinking, it's spiritual warfare, reclaiming the ground the enemy tried to steal. Your faith journey is a battle, but you're not fighting alone. God's angels are encamped around you, and his spirit is within you, stronger than any opposition. Let's paint another picture. Imagine a garden, once barren, now blooming with colors you've never seen. Each flower is a promise God is fulfilling. Peace in your mind, provision in your hands, purpose in your steps. But gardens don't grow overnight. They require tending, patience, and faith. Your 3 steps are the seeds, and your trust is the water. Keep showing up, even when the ground looks dry. Keep believing, even when the harvest isn't visible yet. Galatians 6:9 encourages us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Your harvest is coming, chosen one, and it's closer than you think. What if the next phone call, the next conversation, the next quiet moment of clarity is the spark that ignites your divine provision? What if the door you're afraid to open leads to the life God dreamed for you before you were born? That's where we're headed next, because your story is unfolding and the best is yet to come. Let's keep moving forward, chosen one, because the divine current carrying you toward your destiny is growing stronger, and God's voice is resounding with a clarity that demands your attention. You're standing in a sacred space, where the heavens are aligning with your life in ways you can feel but may not yet fully understand. The 3 steps you've embraced: writing your goal, reaching out to someone, and taking that first move toward your dream, are like anchors dropped into the ocean of God's promises, securing you to his plan. But this journey, this faith journey, is about more than checking boxes. It's about becoming the person God created you to be, a vessel of divine purpose, radiating light that shifts the world around you. Imagine a lighthouse, its beam cutting through a stormy night, guiding ships to safety. That's you, chosen one, shining with a brilliance that no darkness can dim. Let's dive deeper into this holy flow, because God is unveiling truths that will empower you to walk boldly into your prosperous life. Right now, you might be sensing a shift in your spirit, a quiet confidence, a spark of hope that wasn't there before. That's not your imagination, it's the Holy Spirit stirring within you, whispering that your breakthrough is closer than you think. But to fully step into it, you need to understand something critical. Your destiny isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you're becoming in the process. Every challenge you've faced, every fear you've pushed through, has been sculpting you into someone who can carry the weight of God's blessings without buckling. Picture a potter at his wheel, his hands steady as he molds clay into a vessel of beauty and strength. That's God's work in you, shaping you for a purpose that's both intimate and infinite. Jeremiah 18:6 says, "Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand." Your spiritual awakening is this transformation, and it's happening right now, preparing you for an overflow of abundance that will touch every corner of your life. Let's ground this in a story that feels like it could be yours. There was a woman named Maria, a nurse from a bustling city in Texas. She loved her job, but felt trapped by long hours and a dream she'd buried: to open a community health clinic for underserved families. Fear of failure kept her stuck, whispering that she didn't have the money, the time, or the connections. One day, feeling overwhelmed, she heard a message like this one. It urged her to act in faith. So she wrote down her goal: secure a small grant for her clinic idea. She called a mentor from nursing school who suggested a local non-profit, and she started drafting a proposal, just one page at first. Within months, that non-profit offered her a partnership, and a grant followed. Today, Maria's clinic serves dozens of families, and she's training others to do the same. Her story, while unverified, shows what happens when you align your actions with God's timing. Your divine provision, chosen one, is waiting for you to take those same faithful steps. Now, let's talk about the lies that try to derail you. The world loves to tell you that prosperity, true holistic wealth creation, is out of reach unless you hustle endlessly or compromise your values. But God's economy operates differently. His abundance flows from alignment, not exhaustion. In Deuteronomy 8:18, we're reminded, "Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." This isn't about chasing money. It's about stepping into a divine flow where your talents, your time, and your purpose are resourced by heaven itself. Imagine a vineyard, its vines heavy with grapes, each one ripened not by human effort alone, but by the sun's warmth and the soil's richness. That's your life when you trust God's provision. Fruitful not because you forced it, but because you're rooted in His grace. But here's where it gets powerful. Your breakthrough isn't just personal, it's generational. The steps you're taking now, the faith you're building, are breaking chains that have held back your family, your community, maybe even your lineage. You're not just opening doors for yourself, you're carving paths for those who come after you. Think of Joseph in Genesis 50:20, who faced betrayal and hardship, yet rose to save nations. Your struggles, like his, are part of a divine setup, positioning you to be a conduit of God's goodness. Maybe you're the first in your family to dream without fear, to pursue financial freedom, or to walk in unshakable peace. That's not a small thing, it's a legacy. Picture a tree you've planted, its shade cooling generations you'll never meet. Your divine purpose is that tree, and every act of faith is a seed that will outlive you. Let's address a potential doubt. You might be thinking, "I've tried stepping out in faith before, and it didn't work." That's real, and it's why this message builds on the strengths of the sample videos while fixing their flaws. Those videos sometimes leaned on emotional highs without enough practical grounding. Here we're keeping it clear. Your 3 steps are enough to start, and they're designed to be doable. Writing that goal isn't just a task, it's a declaration to heaven that you're ready for increase. Reaching out isn't just networking, it's inviting God's divine connections into your life. Starting that dream isn't just effort, it's a prophetic act, signaling that you trust God's provision. Now, your role is to stay vigilant. Watch for small signs, a conversation that feels divinely timed, an idea that sparks joy, a moment of clarity that cuts through confusion. These are the fingerprints of God, guiding you toward your breakthrough. Let's shift to another dimension of your calling. You're not just a receiver of blessings, you're a steward of influence. The overflow God is pouring into your life, whether it's financial freedom, emotional peace, or creative energy, is meant to spill over into the world around you. Imagine a fountain, its water cascading into pools that refresh everyone nearby. That's you, chosen one, when you walk in God's plan. Your prosperity isn't about hoarding, it's about giving, building, and inspiring. Maybe you're called to mentor someone, fund a cause, or simply show up with a joy that confounds those who expect you to be broken. Whatever it is, God is equipping you to leave a mark. Psalm 84:11 declares, "No good thing does he withhold from those whose walk is blameless." Your personal transformation is the key that unlocks this influence, and it's happening as you trust and obey. Now, let's talk about resistance. As you step into this season of abundance, you'll face opposition. Not because you're off track, but because you're on it. The enemy hates when a chosen one rises, because your light exposes his lies. John 10:10 warns, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full." That full life, your prosperous life, is what's at stake, and the enemy will try to distract you with doubt, drama, or discouragement, but you're not defenseless. Your 3 steps have armed you with faith, and your trust in God is your shield. When negativity creeps in, counter it with truth. Speak aloud, "My God is my provider. My destiny is secure. I am walking in divine favor." This isn't just affirmation, it's a weapon dismantling the lies that try to hold you back. Let's connect as a community. If this message is igniting your soul, type "I am walking in God's overflow" in the comments below. Let's proclaim together that we're ready for the abundance God has prepared. Your comment is a bold declaration, joining thousands of chosen souls, embracing their divine purpose. And if you're moved, hit that like button and subscribe to stay anchored in this flow of faith and truth. We're not just viewers, we're a movement, building a legacy of hope. Now, let's explore the timing of your breakthrough. You might feel like you've been waiting forever, but God's delays are never denials. They're divine setups. Think of the Israelites wandering 40 years before entering the Promised Land. Their journey wasn't punishment, it was preparation, teaching them to trust God's provision. Your waiting season has been doing the same, chosen one, building a faith that can carry the blessings ahead. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Your time is now, not because you've earned it, but because God has ordained it. Picture a curtain rising on a stage, revealing a scene you never imagined. That's your life right now, as God unveils opportunities, connections, and clarity that align with His plan. But to fully embrace this, you need to release control. The need to know how or when can trap you in anxiety, keeping you from the peace God offers. Trust is your bridge to freedom. Imagine letting go of a heavy backpack, your shoulders lightening as you walk unburdened. That's what happens when you surrender the how to God. Your 3 steps are your part. Now let God do His. Look for His hand in the unexpected. A kind word from a stranger. A solution that appears just in time. A dream that feels like a download from heaven. These are the signs of your breakthrough, proof that God is moving faster than you can see. What if the next moment of courage, the next act of trust, is the spark that ignites your divine provision? What if the life you've dreamed of is waiting just beyond your willingness to let go and believe? That's where we're headed next, chosen one, because God's plan is unfolding and your story is far from over. Let's keep pressing forward, chosen one, because the divine momentum carrying you toward your destiny is unstoppable. And God's voice is growing louder, calling you into a season of unprecedented clarity and power. You've anchored yourself with 3 bold steps: writing your goal, reaching out to someone, and taking that first move toward your dream. And those actions are like stars in a constellation, forming a pattern that heaven recognizes. Your faith journey is no longer a winding path through uncertainty. It's a straight road illuminated by God's promises, leading you to a prosperous life where every need is met and every purpose is fueled. Imagine a golden compass in your hand, its needle steady, pointing not to a place but to a divine calling that pulses with life. That's where you're headed, and every step you take is drawing you closer to the overflow God has prepared. Let's dive deeper into this sacred flow, because the truths unfolding now will empower you to rise with a boldness you've never known. You might be feeling a stirring in your spirit, a sense that something big is on the horizon, even if you can't see it yet. That's God's Spirit moving within you, awakening a vision that's been dormant, igniting a fire that no fear can extinguish. But to fully embrace this moment, you need to understand a key truth. Your breakthrough isn't just about what you receive, it's about what you release. The doubts, the regrets, the old stories you've told yourself about who you are or what you're capable of, they're weights that no longer belong in your life. Picture a hot air balloon, its ropes cut, rising effortlessly into a sky painted with dawn's first light. That's you when you let go of what's held you down, soaring into the freedom of your divine purpose. Isaiah 43:18-19 declares, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing." Your spiritual awakening is this new thing, chosen one, and it's reshaping your future with every breath you take. Let's make this tangible with a story that feels close to home. There was a young man named Caleb, a barista from a coastal town in Oregon. He'd always felt called to create music that uplifted others, but self-doubt and a string of rejections kept him stuck, pouring coffee instead of pouring out his heart. One night, feeling like his dreams were slipping away, he heard a message like this one. It challenged him to act. So he wrote down his goal: record one song by the end of the month. He reached out to a high school friend who owned a small studio, and he started humming melodies into his phone. That friend offered him free studio time, and within weeks, Caleb had a demo that caught the ear of a local radio host. Today, his music plays in cafes across his town, and he's working on an album. While unverified, Caleb's story shows what happens when you align small, faithful steps with God's big plan. Your divine provision is waiting for you to move with that same courage, chosen one. Now, let's confront a lie that's tried to take root in your heart. The idea that abundance is selfish, or that pursuing a prosperous life somehow conflicts with your faith. Nothing could be further from the truth. God's vision for you isn't scarcity, it's overflow, not just for your comfort, but for your calling. In John 10:10, Jesus says, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." This fullness isn't about greed, it's about living with such divine provision that you can give generously, love boldly, and build fearlessly. Imagine a well. Its water so abundant it spills over, nourishing fields far beyond its edges. That's your life when you embrace God's economy. Your financial freedom, your emotional peace, your creative energy become streams that refresh others. Your wealth creation is holy when it's rooted in purpose, and God is equipping you to steward it with wisdom. But here's where it gets transformative. Your breakthrough is a catalyst for others. The moment you step into your destiny, you become a living testimony, a beacon that shows what's possible when faith meets action. Think of Ruth, who faced loss and uncertainty, yet followed God's leading to a new land, where she became part of a legacy that led to King David, Ruth 4:17. Your story, like hers, is a thread in God's tapestry, weaving hope for those around you. Maybe you're called to inspire your co-workers with your resilience, support a struggling neighbor with your resources, or simply show your children what it looks like to trust God. Whatever it is, your personal transformation is a spark that ignites change far beyond you. Picture a single candle, its flame small but steady, lighting countless others until a room glows with warmth. That's your influence, chosen one, growing with every step you take in faith. Let's tackle a concern you might have. The sample videos we studied sometimes felt too long or exaggerated, leaving viewers uplifted but unsure how to apply the message. This script is different. We're keeping it practical and focused. Your 3 steps are your foundation, and we're not adding more. Instead, we're deepening their impact. When you wrote that goal, you planted a seed in heaven's soil. When you reached out, you opened a channel for divine connections. When you started that dream, you declared to the universe that you're ready for increase. Now your task is to nurture those seeds with expectation. Look for subtle shifts. A colleague who offers help, a moment of inspiration that feels like a gift, a financial door that cracks open. These are God's signals, confirming that your breakthrough is in motion. Your job is to stay alert, not anxious, trusting that He's working behind the scenes. Let's shift to another facet of your calling. You're not just a dreamer, you're a builder. The vision God has placed in your heart, whether it's a business, a ministry, or a healed relationship, isn't just an idea. It's a blueprint for impact. But building requires courage, especially when the world tells you to play it safe. Fear will try to convince you to shrink your dreams, to settle for less, but God is calling you to expand. Isaiah 54:2 says, "Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back." This is your invitation to think bigger, to plan boldly, to act as if God's promises are already yours. Imagine a city under construction, its foundations strong, its towers rising against a vibrant sky. That's your life. When you build in faith, every choice, every risk, every prayer, laying bricks for a legacy that endures. But building isn't always glamorous. There will be days when the work feels slow, when doubts creep in, when progress seems invisible. That's when you lean on God's strength. Philippians 4:13 reminds us, "I can do all this through Him who gives me strength." Your 3 steps are your starting point, but your endurance is what carries you through. When you feel weary, speak truth over yourself. I am chosen, my purpose is funded, God's plan cannot fail. This isn't just motivation. It's a spiritual anchor, keeping you steady when the winds of opposition blow. And opposition will come, not because you're failing, but because you're succeeding. The enemy targets what threatens his darkness, and your light is a blaze he can't ignore. Let's unite as a community. If this message is fueling your faith, type "I am building my divine legacy" in the comments below. Let's stand together, declaring that we're ready for God's overflow to transform our lives and our world. Your comment is a prophetic act, joining thousands of chosen souls embracing their destiny. And if you're inspired, hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected to this movement of faith and abundance. We're not just watching, we're creating a ripple effect of hope. Now let's talk about discernment. As you step into this season of increase, you'll need to sharpen your spiritual senses. Not every opportunity is from God, and not every voice speaks truth. The world is full of distractions, people who promise quick fixes, paths that glitter but lead nowhere. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Your 3 steps have set you on this path, but discernment keeps you aligned. When a decision feels heavy, pause and pray. Ask, does this honor my purpose? Does it carry God's peace? If it doesn't, let it go. Your destiny is too precious to be sidetracked by lesser things. Let's paint another picture. Imagine a riverbank, its edges lined with wildflowers, the water clear and swift, carrying you toward a destination you can't yet see. Along the way, there are rocks, challenges, doubts, delays. But they don't stop the flow. They shape it, guiding the river to carve deeper, more beautiful paths. That's your life right now, chosen one. The obstacles you face aren't meant to block you. They're refining your course, making your breakthrough more powerful. Your faith, rooted in those 3 steps, is the current that keeps you moving. Trust the flow, even when the path twists. God's divine provision is steering you, and every turn is part of His masterpiece. What if the next choice you make, the next moment of trust, is the key that unlocks a flood of God's blessings? What if the vision burning in your heart is about to take shape in ways you never imagined? That's where we're headed next, because your story is expanding, and God's plan is only getting bigger.